Well, we're off on the second part of our tour to view the little fortress at Theresienstadt. It was used as a Gestapo police prison and a concentration camp for all types of prisoners, including Jews, political opponents, gypsies, and Jehovah's Witnesses. Although there were no gas chambers here, the death toll was extremely high due to the bad conditions.
Okay. I know what that means now.
What does that mean, Lenny?
It means work makes you free, right?
Work makes you free or work sets you free. Very good.
Yeah.
Fine.
Simplest way how to do it, someone will keep that bed. And at 5:30, there was already roll call. A bell. Everyone had to leave the barracks and come outside so the guards could count them, and then they would leave to work. First, I would like to show you the very most typical cell here, one of the mass cells. Around us we have 15 of them, they were all the same. So we can enter right here.
So now, our tour guide is going to explain to us the typical conditions of a jail cell in Theresienstadt.
Now, the furniture you are looking at, it's the original one, by the way. Inside each one of these cells, obviously sometimes less, sometimes more, but the usual number was between 90 to 100 in here, and all the other cells. Difficult to imagine. Just imagine when they were sleeping that this space was placed for at least 6 men. 6 people, just like this. They didn't have mattresses here. And many people died of diseases, and that's because imagine, so full of people, if one got ill, everyone would be infected by the same disease within 24 hours. The most of the dangers, those bugs, insects were body lice, and prisoners were covered by them, really. They were much bigger than the hair lice. Like this, the hundreds on each, No light, no heating used, even though they kept the old heaters from 19th century, but it was too expensive to heat the barracks, to heat the cells, so there was no heating. And just imagine that these cells were considered as the better ones. I would like to show you now one of the punishment cells. Let me check if we can go there. It was an empty room, just like today, but with even blocked windows, so it would be dark. As far as we know, the highest number of people together in this room was 74. Without toilet, no beds, nothing, just an empty room. Most of these prisoners were brought from the ghetto to the small fortress by the guards. Whenever they would break the rules there, they would send them over to here. And the purpose of this was to keep them here as long until the next transport to Auschwitz would leave. That was the punishment, but in the meantime, many people died already here. First, imagine the smell without toilet. Doors locked. The only opening was this hall. It couldn't bring enough fresh air inside. Many people suffocated. This hall was for the guards, so they could check on them. That thing up there used to be a light, and they would keep it on during night, because many times, most of the times, in this cell it was not allowed to be sitting. They had to stand up all night, and everyone who would be seen on the ground was shot. So under these conditions, they were supposed to be here sometimes even 4 months, imagine that. If they survived this, train brought them to Auschwitz, and they went directly to the gas chambers. Now I would like to show you other punishment cells. For that we will go outside, okay?
If we go in this place, there's a very famous person who died in one of these cells. Let's check it out.
The most well-known prisoner of the little fortress wasn't even there during the Holocaust period. He was Gavrilo Princip, the assassin of Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand. His action led to World War I, which in turn led to the rise of Hitler, World War II, and the Holocaust. How's that for irony?
Here it is, Gavrilo Princip cell. This is the cell where Gavrilo died in 1918. This is it. This is where he died. Come on in. This is the cell where he died. Isn't it ironic he died in Theresienstadt? Yeah. Incredible.
Now we're off to see a very critical point in the little fortress. The only area where it was possible to escape, which some lucky prisoners did, as our guide will tell us.
The SS soldiers, they always shot those prisoners right away. And excuse me for saying that, but it was maybe better for them to be shot right away, because if they got them alive, they were usually tortured to death. You know, soldiers were really everywhere, and outside as well. This escaping, it happened, we know exactly how and who, because these 3 prisoners who did it, they did survive. This is where they got out, December 5th, 1944. That was the night when it happened. And maybe, you know, they were very lucky because all the guards were celebrating. We have this holiday, St. Nicholas, that day, and they were all drunk. So they even had or found in this building an old ladder, you know, which they could use to get over that wall. And one of them knew the area here, so they were hiding in the forest, you know, and 6 months long until the end of the war, and they never found them.
The next stop on our tour is to see the execution area. We'll get there by going through a tunnel, which is about 1/4 of a mile long, but believe me, it seemed longer.
So we're now in the tunnel system that goes from the little fortress to the execution area. It's a 550-meter tunnel, so it's really long, almost like a maze. It's really, really interesting.
Dude, I would not want to do that. Oh, you could bring some flashlights. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
Where's spider web? Trying not to get my head
We
stuck.
made it. Long journey, but we made it.
The best part is when you couldn't see anything.
With our journey through the tunnel finally over, our guide explained the significance of the execution area.
Prisoners were not brought through that tunnel, it was closed. They brought them through that little door. They had to walk right there, that spot. And here the soldiers were already standing, and then prisoners would be executed by shooting. 10 soldiers, 5 prisoners was the maximum number. If the group was bigger, the others were waiting next to them. And maybe you also noticed that gallows for hanging. Probably to make it even longer, the suffering, because I have read that it took between 12 to 18 minutes before someone died, you know. Last execution took place here on the 2nd of May 1945, which was 3 days, if I'm not mistaken, after Hitler committed suicide. He was dead. And 3 days before the Nazis escaped from here. So on 2nd of May 1945, they executed here still 52 men and women. Okay.
We then stopped at the area which housed the SS officers, and came across a swimming pool built for them by the prisoners. Our guide will tell you how they managed to construct this seemingly innocent object of leisure.
They chose them to start with construction of this swimming pool, and the month was February, which here means everything is frozen, the ground like a rock, and they let them dig it with bare hands. They wouldn't get any tools. And the other group of survivors said it's true, we saw that, but later on they were allowed to use spoons. That's what the survivors said. That's how the swimming pool was built.
With spoons.
We still have one more place left before we finish.
We have one more place to see in the Little Fortress, and that is yet one more area of torture cells. Here we go.
There's just another prison here at the Little Fortress of Theresienstadt. Incredible.
Our guide told us that up to 20 prisoners were put into each of these little cells. So, we decided to see what it would be like to fit everybody in.
Smash 20 people in. 18, 19, 20. That's 20 right there. That's 20 people in one room. 20 people. That's 20 people.
friends.
That's how it looks.
Guys, I gotta use the bathroom. Sorry. Like, that's how I have to do that.
Holy.
Wait, there's a toilet right here, guys. Oh yeah, we would have to literally like lift if Haley needed to pee. You have to ground surf. No, I know.
So that was our trip to Theresienstadt. We saw the town and the Little Fortress. There was so much to see here. I hope you had an enjoyable time watching this, and I look forward to seeing you on our next in-class field trip. See you later, guys.